just want to talk.
All right.
This is a stall. What is it with you and these assholes? I don't care that she's your friend. If she tries to stop us, I'm putting her down.
Your broadcast is causing a panic. It has to stop.
Yeah, it's not gonna happen, Gunny. Holden says that station is gonna wipe us all out. Unless we make this happen now.
I was with him in that thing. It did something to him. I'm not even sure it's the Holden you know that came back.
He's running around, putting his life on the line, trying to save everyone. That's the Holden I know. Take him out!
Oh!
Stand down!
She's like, how does this always happen to me?
Guys down here. Gunny, you okay? Gunny, she's hit.
They'll be sending a lot more people, so whatever you gotta do, do it fast.
There's no way we stay ahead of those suits. You keep going. I can handle Diogo Harari.
No, you can't.
Give me the grenades. I'm sorry I tried to kill you.
There's no need.
Tell Naomi I said that.
I will.
Oh shit!
I know I don't need to carry a gun.
That's a pretty good trick. Are you okay?
Hey, I'll live.
Think you better go on without me.
I guess he's dead. I mean, I'm relieved for drummer.
Other ships too.
We're running out of time. Keep talking. Keep talking.
I'm not sure how much longer we're going to be able to keep this going.
I love you.
We're unarmed! Don't shoot! We're coming out!
The UN ships are shutting down.
I know you're trying to save lives. I am too. But we're on the brink right now because we keep reacting to things we don't understand. We're scared, we're hurt, and we're reaching for violence because we can't figure out what to do. But just this once, can't we try something else?
Ashford, you know me. I stopped following fanatics a long time ago.
Shut up.
Shit. It's opening all the doors. All.
I guess it worked.
Because she believed him.
You haven't been straight with me, Miller. There's something you're not telling me. Oh, really? After all the pain and death, you just flip a switch and we're free to go. Just like that. Nice try. I think you were trying to open the ring gates from the beginning. That was the plan. And what I want to know now is, are we, I mean humanity, are we part of that plan? I don't believe you did it out of the goodness of your heart. It was never about helping us. You know, all of our divisions, all of our hatreds, they didn't just magically disappear the moment you set us free.
I guess Bobby's with them now. I mean, again, how could she go back to the Martians, right?
You've given us a new frontier. 1,300 habitable systems on the other side of those
There's
rings.
Absalom.
You know we're gonna go. We won't be able to resist. It's gonna be another blood-soaked gold rush. Am I scared? Yeah, you're goddamn right I'm scared. And I think you know why. When you connected me to the station, I saw something. The civilization that built the rings is gone. Wiped out. What could have killed them?
Yeah.
That's what I'd like to know. Gonna need a ride.
Oh, wow. Whew. I'm feeling unexpectedly emotional right now. Like, just overwhelmed by everything that happened, I guess. Whew. Just the way that they wrapped that up at the end from I don't even know when. I guess maybe from the moment that Drummer decided to stay behind, thinking she was going to sacrifice herself, and we see Bobby getting shot and coming over to the other side, and from that moment on all the way to the end, that was just really intensely emotional. And it was 100%, it was just like Anna was saying to Amos. Everybody there thought they were doing, not just doing the right thing or the smart thing, but they thought they were doing what had to be done, even at the cost of their own lives, for the sake of humanity as a whole. And Ashford and them, they just didn't know. They couldn't know. Holden was the only one that really was clear, and the only reason that anybody ended up listening to him at all was because of the various people that he had gotten to trust him, who knew him. You know, if Naomi didn't trust him as much as she did, then Drummer never would have probably gone along with that or trusted that, and she wouldn't have done everything she did in order to make that happen. If Anna didn't, if she wasn't the person that she was, and if she hadn't already had this contact with the people on the Rossi, and then gotten the message from Holden in the past and about Ehrenreich and everything, then she might not have necessarily trusted that. If the scientist on the UN ship hadn't heard Anna saying that, Anna who he trusted, then maybe he wouldn't have heard that message and spread it to the other UN ships. And of course Bobby, if she hadn't had her experiences with Holden and Alex and all of them, and she didn't know them, then I mean, they could have all just been taken out by Martian Marines. And then the big thing at the end being Clarissa, if she hadn't gone through everything she had in her life, if she hadn't had this experience with her father, where she seems to have legitimately believed that he was trying to do what he claimed he was trying to do, and he even believed that too, and to some extent, you know, he was, even though he was narcissistic and thought he was the only one that could make that choice, right? But if she didn't believe that he was, you know, willing to sacrifice everything for the sake of humanity to figure out what was going on with the protomolecule, and that he hadn't been unfairly maligned, if she didn't have those kind of true lofty beliefs about the validity and the good of what he was doing, then she wouldn't have been there, and she wouldn't have obviously tried to kill Holden and caused all this problem, so maybe wouldn't have had an issue in the first place. But even if something else had gone wrong, which it likely would have, from ships sailing in too fast or bombs exploding or whatever, but she was set up for that, and then she was placed in that cell next to Holden, and she heard everything that he was saying, both to Naomi and then to Miller, and she just believed. She heard what he was saying, and she believed that he was sincere, and that what he was saying actually reminded her of maybe what her father was claiming that he was trying to do, and doing the right thing and figuring out what was best for humanity as a whole, even if it meant losing everything. And so then she also turned around and was willing to potentially lose everything that she had left. And, you know, she had said to Ashford, doing one good thing at the end of your life, can it make up for bad things that you've done? And, you know, maybe not, but if she hadn't done that, then all of the human race could have been wiped out. So maybe, yes, maybe that does kind of somewhat make up for some of it, even if she can't be fully forgiven. You know, it also, I mean, I feel like it makes me think a little possibly differently of her as well, that maybe it wasn't all so much just because of wanting her father's affection, but maybe she did just genuinely believe that he was incorrectly or falsely being maligned when he had been trying to do something for the good of humanity, maybe. But I don't know. Maybe I'll find out more when I read the books. But yeah, all these people, all these pieces in place, and if all of them hadn't come to trust Holden specifically, or someone else who trusted Holden, then this never would have come together. Humanity would all have been wiped out. So again, it all comes down to these relationships that have formed. And in a way, it even all comes down to like the Miller and Julie story once again, because none of this would have happened if Holden hadn't connected with Miller, and if whatever is left of Miller that's out there hadn't decided to try and approach Holden with this goal in mind. Yeah, so that was insane, and it was powerful, and I thought it was brilliant. I absolutely loved the way that they wrapped that up. I'm really excited to see what's going to happen going forward. So it looks like Bobby is on the Rossi. Not going to be able to go back to Mars because she once again seems to have sided against Martians, even though she thought she was doing the greater good. So maybe she's going to be back on the Rossi for good, maybe? That would be interesting. We see a glimpse of Avasarala at the end, so hopefully we'll get to see more of her in the coming season. She wasn't really in the second half of this season at all. We saw Drummer coming to Ashford with kind of like a peace offering of a drink. You know, she wants to keep working with him, and that says a lot to me, and that's a big kind of step from her, I think, and maybe showing kind of what I was saying at the end of the last episode, that they've got a certain kind of trust in each other, even though there's a completely different type of mistrust about, you know, personal motivations and desire to be the one in charge and thinking you're right. There's the trust that they both would do what they thought was best for the belt. And so she knows that he was just trying to save everybody, and so she's gonna try and reconcile with him in some way, even if it's just to say, you know, you're forgiven. And that's what we also saw with Anna sitting there with Clarissa at the end, you know, that it isn't necessarily that she or Ashford, because he committed mutiny and killed people, it's not necessarily that they'll just get off for everything that they did, get away with it with no repercussions. I'm not sure, but there's understanding, and there can be forgiveness, which is, again, what Anna was talking about with Amos. When this is over, we all have to come together. And then, of course, so we see at the end there, Holden having like another glimpse of Miller in this space on some sort of beach where he can see all of the different doors to these different solar systems, and talking about how now humanity is going to go out and explore all of it. And he says it's going to be a new gold rush, so basically it's going to be a new, like, race to find out what's out there, colonize space, I guess, race now between Earth, Mars, and the Belt. So, of course, that's what I should have expected that to be coming. As soon as he said it, it made total sense to me, because, I mean, yes, we had this kind of everyone coming together in this dire need moment when you're faced with an alien threat that you have no idea what it is, and you're all potentially about to die and you have to save humanity. But then, when that particular threat seems to be resolved, then it comes back to your individual factions, power struggle, and that, again, it does make complete sense. So I'm not surprised it's gonna happen. But Holden's got his own mission, because he said, and this is what I was asking earlier too in the episode, whoever created the protomolecule, that civilization, and who was responsible for all these doorways and for blowing up a ton of other solar systems, they are gone. They were destroyed by someone, something. So what is it that's out there that did that? And maybe we should kind of find that out. You know, that could potentially be a threat, or maybe they're not a threat. Maybe they could be a positive relationship or something. You know, maybe they wanted to destroy that civilization for a reason. Who knows? But the idea is that maybe we should try to investigate that. So we've got Holden and Miller saying he could use a ride because Miller's wanting to invest. So I'm curious though, then is it really Miller, what is left of Miller, that wants to investigate this and wanted Holden going with him to investigate it and wanted all of this to come into place? Is it whatever is left of the species that created the protomolecule? Is it some sort of hybridization? I mean, I'm really curious about that, because I still feel like I don't have a good solid grasp on how much of this is truly Miller, how much of it is in his control, and how much of it is him, a programming version of him that was there specifically to bring in Holden. And if that's the case, then it comes back to all of these ideas about destiny, Holden's destiny, which makes sense, again, in light of all of the people that he was connected to and how everything had to come together through him and trust of him in order to make this happen. But yeah, so there's a lot of stuff going on in my mind right now, as you can tell. But yeah, I thought it was a fantastic season, best season yet, which, I mean, you guys were right. Every single season gets better, which is crazy to say because it was so good right from the beginning. Yeah, but that was fantastic. And so I think I'm gonna wrap up talking about it here, but just for everybody, especially for people that aren't on my Patreon, so you haven't heard me talking about this before, Next week, I'm going to be doing reactions to the season 4 trailers, and then the next Expanse crack for after season 3. And if you have recommendations for any other fan-made videos or behind-the-scenes videos or anything else you would want me to react to, you can let me know. So that'll be in the next week. And then after that, in the kind of in-between space, in between when the new season comes out and now, I will of course be doing other reaction series still to different shows, but I'm also going to start reading the books and the novellas and doing some videos talking about, you know, my thoughts on the books, comparisons between the books and the show, differences that I've seen, you know, just general book kind of review and show comparison. And then I'm also thinking of doing videos kind of like my Julian Miller video that focus on specific characters or topics from the show. So just kind of more fan-made videos to keep me entertained about The Expanse during this sad period coming up where I have to wait with you guys now. So yeah, so again, if you have any thoughts for particular topics, characters, anything that you would be interested in hearing me talk about, do leave that down in the comment section. Let me know. Alright guys, well this has been really a fun, crazy journey, and I'm also gonna have to go back and rewatch all of these episodes in the in-between stage. Alright, that's gonna do it for me today, everyone. Thank you very much for joining me. Hopefully I'll see you next time. Bye.